where all is well. I'm the thinker who thinks the thoughts that create the things. I am also the Queen Chief of Three Kings. Today is Wednesday, August the 30th, 2023, and it is currently 1600 hours. I'm on here today. Thank you to my Queen Chief of Three Kings CIs, Confidential Informants, Secret Squirrel Society. If you'd like to send me anything, I never disclose my sources or expose my sources. You may do so at my email address at alliswell71479 at gmail.com. My email address is in the description of my YouTube channel. Please like, please share, please subscribe, please subscribe. Thank you so much. Please turn on that notification bell. I love you. I appreciate you. I thank God for you. Well, someone sent me an email asking me, have I heard about Officer Christopher Perez? Officer Christopher Perez worked for the Floresville Police Department for 4 months. Floresville is a city in Texas near San Antonio. That's all I know about that. But he has a federal case out for retaliation against the police department and his supervisors. He said he was trying to do the right thing, and by him trying to do the right thing, he received a termination notice. He feels like by him trying to do the right thing, it backfired on him. Of course, most of you all know that I've went through or am still going through, but it's going positive. And like I said, as long as the communication remains open, I'm good. So my former employer, EEOC, my turn, they're communicating, so I am good. Yeah, I can understand. It's difficult. It's hard being an officer and working among other officers who well, I don't know, because we never know who people really are. I can't say I know that they're racist, or I know that they're prejudiced, or they might be implicit biases or implicit biases, but they may look at African Americans different than they look at people themselves. Some people are just more comfortable around people who look like them. But when you become a police officer, I believe on the questionnaire asks you if you can work with different people of different cultures and nationalities and religious and political beliefs. And as far as I know, you have to say yes, you're able to work with people of such nature in order to get the job. But it's sad to be terminated while trying to do the right thing. They advised the reason for his termination because he was spreading false rumors, made false reports, and lies. He said he had eyewitnesses. Officer Christopher Perez had eyewitnesses and supporting facts that his supervisor was using racial slurs on the job. This is going on at the Floresville Police Department. According to Officer Christopher Perez, you have officers there using racial slurs on the job during traffic stops. You have officers there who bragged and laughed about violating citizens' civil rights. I don't believe that this is what's best. Of course, they're going to write in their policy that they don't discriminate against anybody. But if you're hiring and maintaining people who you know are doing this, then you're creating a false image. And I saw a little piece of it and I looked this information up. They held the city council hall meeting, and even though they know what's going on in the police department is wrong, it's like they don't want to do anything about it. But the city manager said that they're going to hire an outside agency, I guess, to investigate the entire police department. I think something like that should be done at my former police department. But as a police officer, Chris Perez advised he believed they should all be held to a higher standard. You know, when you put on that badge, it symbolizes a sacrifice. If being a police officer is a chosen career field, we didn't have to be forced to become police officers. Those of us who chose to do that, so it's a job, but that badge does comes with this sacrifice, because you never know what you have to sacrifice in order to make it home. Will it be a life? Will it be a sickness, a illness, a disease, physical or invisible, or mental? So I hope, but he said what's rewarding for him is knowing what he's doing is the right thing to do, and for his daughter. But it's sad that his wife and family are being harassed. I don't know how big or how small the Floresville Police Department is, but if you have numerous cases of policies being violated, and the chief is turning a blind eye, and instead of him dealing with it, he chose to terminate the officer, which is, I believe, something that similar to me. I remember having a conversation with the chief of my former employer, trying to tell him about the prejudices and the racism that I felt was going on. For some reason, he couldn't take my word for it. He wanted me to then put it in writing before he decided to do something for it. Now, my thing is, if I were the chief, I used to want to be a chief, but my former employer has taken all of that away from me, unfortunately. But if any chief is listening to this, you can write me privately. I'll never reveal who you are, even if it's the chief of my former employer. But I don't understand. If an officer or anybody comes to you and tells you, hey, say for instance, this officer called me the N-word, why do I need to put anything in writing? I came to you. It wasn't a third person. It wasn't a hearsay. I come to you and tell you what happened. Do something about it. It is not upon me to put it in writing. It's upon you. You took on the responsibility of being the chief. I believe, this is my personal belief, that the reason why my former chief of my former employer wanted me to put it in writing, so that he could pick apart everything he wanted to pick apart and use it and twist it in a way, because none of my complaints or issues got dwelt with. Instead, he decided to use it what I would consider to be against me. I had a complaint, I remember, against a lieutenant, and his only response was, well, you went over that lieutenant's house and had dinner. Of course. Yes, I did. He invited me over. I thought it was a great time to fellowship, and but because I went to the lieutenant's house and had dinner, he dismissed the entire complaint that I had. It's true. This is facts. What I'm saying, everything I'm telling you is the truth to the best of my knowledge. So it's crazy when. Anyway, this Christopher Perez did just about the same thing. He wrote it up, and instead, he received the paper back from the chief, terminating him for saying that he writing a false report and everything. But this officer had supporting facts and eyewitnesses to back up his complaint. So he was able to file a federal lawsuit. I think he is suing his former employers and the chief and his supervisor, Sergeant Thomas Silvers Perez, and his and some other officers. The police department and 3 other officers. I've not done that. I personally feel it's the police department's responsibility to make sure people of that nature are not being hired, or even if you know, because before my case, there was a video by another officer that he put out on social media, and to me, if I was the mayor or the city manager, once that has happened, I think an external investigation should have started then. If you've gotten several complaints and things from other people who used to work there, do something about it. We had a black female retired sergeant, tried to, when she retired, I believe she's the first black female who's ever retired from our former police agency. I don't think she was ever acknowledged for it, but according to her, she up on her essay interview thing that she wrote up, she mentioned some things she didn't agree with what's going on. At that point, the city manager, mayor, or whoever's in charge should have then said, this is 2 or 3 different times before I even did my case that I felt they had opportunities to bring in some, say, hey, something is going on, something ain't right. Why all these complaints keep coming in? If you have an officer, which unfortunately me and my chief disagreed with, but if we have an officer who've gotten several complaints from different people at different times, from different citizens at different times, involving the same type of mentality of this officer, and you make a decision to keep this officer employed at the police department, what's that saying go? Where there is smoke, there's a fire. But according, I guess they didn't see the smoke. I don't know. One of us is slow. Is it me? Am I the one slow for thinking they should have done something? But they're going through a preliminary evaluation right now, as far as I know. He done been Officer Christopher Perez has been able to get hired by another agency, so I'm grateful for that. I'm sorry for what he's going through. Thank you to the person who asked me if I've heard about it. So I just Googled it, looked it up, and decided to share my opinion on it. But if you're an officer and you work for a police department and you would like for me to talk about what you experienced or what you have experienced as a former officer, just send me an email. I'll talk about it, and I'll keep you anonymous. This was not sent to me by Christopher Perez. This is public information. If it was not public information, I would never say his name, but if you can Google it and it's on the news and I consider it public, then I'll say your name. So, but the person who sent this to me, I would not disclose their name. They didn't say I could or I could not, but anything anybody sends me, I want to keep it undisclosed, unless if they want me to disclose that they sent it to me. I keep my comments open on all of my videos and they can put it in there. But I'm wishing Officer Christopher Perez and his family the best. I wish all my viewers the best. Maybe if we do more videos like this, or we have more officers who are strong enough or willing to stand. I'm not saying those officers who are not reporting other officers are not strong. People have different reasons for why they make their complaints against officers, and different reasons why people don't. But I think if we bring more and more of this to the light, that officers who are making complaints are getting terminated, I think a change will come. I really do. I personally happen to believe that because I went to the chief to complain about some of the things that I felt were wrong and against policy at the police department, that the first chance that this chief could get to try to get rid of me, that's what he did. So I do not know if that part is the truth or not, but that's how I feel. But it'll all come out at the end. I'm sure of it. But thank you so much for liking. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you so much for subscribing. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much for turning on that notification bell. I love you all. All is well. Let's say the serenity prayer together. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. I love you. I appreciate you. I thank God for you. All is well.